Hey guys, this is Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
The ML Sports Platter is back with you all over the major platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Deezer. Download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. We are brought to you by our great friends over at Stanley Law Offices, Welch & Company Jewelers, Brian Comboy of Mass Mutual, New York State, and Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. 2- and 4-year degrees always available at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Oswego Street and James Street, two great locations in central New York. Check out the new nursing program and a host of others as well. BryantStratton.edu. Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse, the official college of the ML Sports Platter. All right, here we go. It is time for my NFL Week 4 recap. And we swing it all the way back to last Thursday in a game that was, pretty darn entertaining. Jacksonville had a 14-0 lead on Thursday Night Football over the Cincinnati Bengals, and then it was 14 and 10 in respective quarters scored for the Bengals. They come back, they win it. Joe Burrow's a stud. Some of his throws, his mechanics, his mobility in the pocket, he is a star in the making. Tyler Boyd had a big 100-yard game. And, Cincinnati's offense is super exciting. I've said it for quite a while. They've got major guys. They've got Burrow, they have Mixon, they have Boyd, they've got Jamar Chase, who's outstanding, who played with Burrow at LSU. Even the kid C.J. Uzomah is doing some things, caught 2 touchdowns in this game. Look, Jacksonville's 0-4. It's going to be a really, really a tough year. It's going to be a trying year. It's going to be a struggling type year for Urban Meyer. And, facing facts, I'm not quite sure if Jacksonville's going to win more than one game this year. They're that bad. Trevor Lawrence, I think, will be okay, but you got to keep surrounding him, obviously, with talent and help. This Bengal team, though, I'm dialed in all the time to watch this Cincinnati offense because I think they're a freaking blast to watch. And, Burrow had a 132.8 rating. He's pretty darn good, went well over 300 yards. So the Bengals win. They move to 3-1, by the way, and they are 2-0 at home. Moving forward, Washington football team. What an awesome win this was for Ron Rivera's group. Taylor Heineke looked awesome in this game. And, this is just more abysmal Atlanta Falcon football, right? They've got the new regime. They go out and get Arthur Smith. They start selling hope back to the fan base. I've said it for a long time. Since they were up 28-3 in the Super Bowl, that was the window. That was so many guys in their prime. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan. Dan Quinn has clearly established that he's a better assistant than he is head coach. This year especially proving that, right? Really a comedy of errors, poor tackling, awful game management. And I thought Atlanta kind of got pushed around in the second half, too, in this game. And Washington's got some stars. They have Antonio Gibson, a semi-star. Terry McLaurin's a star in this league. He's had some unbelievable catches. Remember, McLaurin had the great corner catch against the Giants, and then he was great here. McKissick is a productive player. They're pumping out offense across the board with these guys. And Taylor Heineke, I've heard comparisons to, a young Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy who likes to take chances. He's got a really strong arm, man. maybe they found something here with him. I mean, we still got a little ways to go here, but Washington, I've said it for a long time. I've loved this roster for a couple of years. I do. I mean, the front line on defense is fantastic. They've got, Allen and Montez Sweat and Chase Young and company. The secondary and the linebackers leave a little bit to be desired there, and we saw the Bills really carve them up not too long ago. So maybe that's somewhat of a weak link, but special teams really good. They've got offensive weapons across the board, and they're trying to find the quarterback in Taylor Heineke. So let's see how that plays out, but maybe they found something. I mean, right now, Gibson, McLaurin, McKissick, Heineke, I mean, this team can score points, and they did 34-30 winners over Atlanta. The Bills just destroyed the Houston Texans, and the Bills were only up 16-0 at the half, and it didn't feel like they were even up, but it felt like that they will be up by at least another 20-plus points, and that's exactly what they did in dominating fashion. Josh Allen was super efficient, 20 of 29, 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. This was just a man-against-boys situation. I mean, there's nothing Houston can do. They have no playmakers whatsoever on either side of the ball outside of Brandon Cooks, but they don't have a quarterback to get it to him. Davis Mills was picked off 4 times. The Bills' defense continues to suffocate offenses. The last 3 weeks they have done that to Washington, to Houston, to Miami. They had some unbelievable. Star Lotulelei was great. Ed Oliver, I thought, was the best player on the field. I mentioned the interceptions, 1 each for Jaquan Johnson, Tyler Matakevich, Tremaine Edmonds, and Micah Hyde. And this game showed how deep the Buffalo Bills are, because the Bills, they went into the game without John Feliciano. They went into the game without Jordan Poyer. They went into the game without Taron Johnson. And they basically didn't miss any kind of a beat. Now, look, I get that the Texans are arguably the worst team in football. Right now, probably be Jacksonville the worst, and then maybe either Houston or Detroit, although I'd put Detroit a little bit ahead because Jared Goff, I guess, is a smidge better than Davis Mills, right? Or maybe a couple smidges. But the reality is, this is still the NFL, right? And the Bills were missing a few pieces, and they played another NFL team, because you have to look at it like that too, and it just wasn't close. And they missed a couple of guys. Now, I think that as we go on here, the Bills will have a monumental opportunity against the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. That'll be something to really watch. Matt Milano is day-to-day. Taron Johnson's day-to-day. Poyer is day-to-day as I record this. So let's see what they do this week in terms of the health protocols and all the rest. But, they're going to need a full house against that Chiefs team. There's no question. That's a huge game. It's a big game in terms of the seeding for home field. It's a big game I think a bigger game for the Bills, just from the standpoint that they've been getting rolled by the Chiefs the last few outings. The Bills have committed to the run game. Zach Moss had a nice day. Devin Singletary had a nice day. They can wear people down when they get a lead, too. I mean, that's the big thing. Devin Singletary's got to clean up the fumbles a little bit. But Zach Moss, man, I mean, when they get a little bit of a lead here, it's reminiscent. Again, I've talked about this, the 49er and Steeler games last year. He just wore those teams down. 49er and Bronco games, he just wore them down. Stephon Diggs predictably had a big day. Emmanuel Sanders, the connection with Josh Allen is just probably ahead of schedule. And you know what? Haven't heard a lot of Zach Ertz talk lately, about how the Bills should have brought him in. Well, because Dawson Knox right now is playing great football. He had 5 catches for 37 yards, was a big-time red zone guy, 2 touchdowns scored. He rumbles with the ball. He's got he's got great size, athleticism, and oh, by the way, that vision school that he went to in the offseason certainly paying off, and he's a great blocker. So Dawson Knox playing extremely well. All phases of the game, the Bills were dominant. Tyler Bass continues to kick extremely well. 4 for 4 in this game for Tyler Bass. So just a dominating performance for the Bills. They lose week 1. I think it was the best thing to happen to them. They now win 3 in a row, dominating fashion in each game, and now they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Great stuff from Justin Fields in this game. Him and Darnell Mooney were in sync basically the entire game, and I really, really, really love the Bears mixing and matching with the play action and rolling Fields out, etc. And David Montgomery is one of the best running backs in the NFL. He went for 100-plus yards and 2 touchdowns. Mooney had an 100-yard game receiving. The Bears offense clicked a pretty good while there, and they threw the ball pretty deep on occasion. And we know that, the home fans, they're clamoring for excitement. They're starving for a successful Bears team, and this team now fights back to 2-2 on the season, and they're 2-0 at home. Cowboys beat the Panthers 36-28. I thought that was just another wonderful game for Dak Prescott, who lit up the Panthers defense. He had 4 touchdowns in this game. Really, I thought both quarterbacks, Sam Darnold got picked off twice, but made some decent throws and a couple of good decisions in the red zone. But both quarterbacks, I kind of felt like this game was a toss-up going in. I did pick Dallas, if you remember, because I just looked at it like, man, Carolina 4 in a row. Like, can they, winning in the NFL is hard. You win one game, it's hard. You win 2 in a row, harder. 3 harder. But I got to tell you, part of why I picked the Cowboys was Dak. He is actually playing really well. Now, am I buying into Dallas? No, because Dallas always does this. Dallas is bringing people in and setting up their fans for disappointment. Ezekiel Elliott was all over the place running the football, 143 yards and 20 carries for an average of 7.2 yards a carry. And, Dak spread it out. He only had 88 yards throwing, but he was so efficient, great in the red zone, as was Ezekiel Elliott, Cooper, Schultz, Wilson, all these guys, CeeDee Lamb. A lot of guys getting involved for Dallas, and a good win for them. But again, I'm not buying in yet. I got to see the Cowboys over the duration of a season. Colts beat the Dolphins 27-17. This was just an awful football game for Miami. I mean, they were awful. They were shut out of the end zone until the fourth quarter. They scored 14 points in the fourth. By then, it was too late. Carson Wentz was actually pretty efficient in this game. Jonathan Taylor, a 100-yard game there. And Allie Cox is just fantastic. I mean, here we go. This guy, former VCU player, in basketball, and the guy has just become an unbelievable weapon for the Colts. Mo Alley Cox, 2 touchdowns, super physical, runs all the routes, can jump over people. He's one of the most dynamic, fun, exciting players in the NFL to watch, and that Colts physicality and their defense got back a little bit for a road win. They needed it because if they had lost that game, they would have been 0-4. Now both Miami and the Colts are 1-3. Browns at the Vikings. Baker Mayfield was awful in this game, and the Browns were horrendous in this game overall, and yet they still found a way to get it done. Ugly game. It was 11-7 Cleveland at halftime. Only 3 more points were scored in the fourth quarter. That was when Cleveland got 3, and they win it 14-7. It was kind of just a puncher's game, back and forth fighting, mano-a-mano. Who's going to throw the last hook, the last cross, and Cleveland did, and I thought, did a great job on the line of scrimmage. Nick Chubb was also fantastic. Just an outstanding job from the Cleveland Browns in terms of just fighting through a game. I mean, when you can play a D game and you go on the road in a tough environment against a team that also, by the way, can we talk about the Minnesota Vikings coming in with some unbelievable momentum because of what happened the week before and that great win against the Seattle Seahawks. Cleveland went in there and they just got it done. And sometimes it just does not matter what it looks like. Baker Mayfield was not very efficient in this game. He threw it 33 times. He only completed 15 passes. He was dreadful. And I'm not a big Baker guy to begin with. But Cleveland, again, D game, and they won the football game. Big time stuff there. Giants, unbelievable win over the New Orleans Saints, 27-21. The G-men came all the way back. This was a 14-10 game at the half. I shouldn't say all the way back, but they came back. And the way the game was kind of going in the third quarter, you kind of looked, okay, it's just about converting right now because the Giants were really starting to outplay them, and boom, they did. They get 11 points. They outplayed them in the third, but we're still down in this game. 14-10 after 3 quarters, but the Giants, you could start to feel it, right? And they could turn it, and they scored 11 in the fourth quarter, and then they win it in overtime. Saquon Barkley, terrific run in OT to win it, and the Giants grabbed their first win of the year. By the way, Galladay had a terrific game, 116 yards, and Daniel Jones was ultra efficient, man. He was. I've been riding him a little bit in terms of how he panics, but He has been efficient this year. He did have one interception, but he went 28 of 40 for 402 yards. So if they can get that out of Daniel Jones most games this year, the Giants, it's going to be a different football team. There's no doubt about that. Moving on here, the ML Sports Platter. It is week 4 of the NFL. My recap here on the program brought to you by Liverpool Physical Therapy and Heather Saxton of Hunt Real Estate. Go find Heather at Hunt on Facebook. She is awesome. Buying and selling homes in the greater New York State area. Heather can help you out today. Jets are winners over the Tennessee Titans. I couldn't believe this game. I was glued to it, all the way through kind of when they picked it up, I think on CBS, and then I watched the overtime, of course, and plus I have Derrick Henry on my fantasy team, so I was really chomping at the bit to win. I've won 3 in a row in fantasy, which is, hey, every once in a while a squirrel who is blind will find a nut. But the Jets 27-24 winners over Tennessee, and I got to tell you, Zach Wilson made some throws. He made some big-time throws in space, tight coverages and the like, and that was a big difference in this game. And I also thought the Jets just, kind of taking their head coach's persona in this game, and Robert Saleh, and just fighting and playing physical football right to the last whistle was certainly something to be, to tip your cap to as well. So the Jets are on the board. The Giants are on the board. New York football fans, or I should say tri-area football fans, they play in New Jersey. We know that the Buffalo Bills are the only team in New York State, right? But New York City football fans can rejoice. Tri-state, New York City, New Jersey, whatever you want to call it. A nice win for the Jets. There's no doubt about that. Chiefs and Eagles went into a shootout, a lot of which was sloppy. You don't normally look at a 42-30 game and say, well, geez, sloppy offense, sloppy this. But it was sloppy tackling on both sides. I thought that the offensive lines actually were not that great in this game. I thought that there was a lot of improv from Jalen Hurts to Patrick Mahomes, who cooked the Eagles for 5 touchdowns. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with an 100-yard game. I thought there was a lot of improving because the offensive line was horrific on both ends. Tyreek Hill was spectacular in this game, 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. He and Patrick Mahomes just lighting it up. Edwards-Helaire lighting it up. The Chiefs now 2-2 on the year, hosting the Bills on Sunday Night Football. Can we say that right now the Arizona Cardinals are the best team in football? I mean, is that possible? 37-20 winners over the Rams. The Rams had come in hot, 3-0, and the Cardinals with Kyler Murray just basically ransacked them. I mean, that's all there is to it. This was a Rams team, mind you, that if you look at the first 3 games of the year, beat the Bears by 20, beat the Colts, well, only by 3, and then beat the Bucks by double digits on Sunday the 26th. So they were coming in as one of the hottest, if not the hottest, and the best team in the entire NFL. Many people picking them to go to or win the Super Bowl, including Tony Kornheiser on PTI in the preseason. And the Cardinals just dusted them. I mean, they really did. They dusted them from every possible vantage point. And, Arizona, to me, Arizona has a lot of just great freak football player and athletes, right? Chase Edmonds, amazing. Kyler Murray, amazing athlete, incredible. I mean, you cannot take your eyes off of Kyler Murray. A.J. Green going back in time. He's having a nice little renaissance. We know about DeAndre Hopkins, right? I think Rondell Moore is a star in the making. And then on defense, I mean, good grief. Budda Baker is a monster. Jalen Thompson, Isaiah Simmons. I mean, they have so many, and I loved that Isaiah Simmons pick. I followed him very, very closely at Clemson. He's in his second year in the NFL. He's everywhere. He is a linebacker you can place all over the place. And, you can put him on the middle. You can put him on the outside. You can rush him up front if you want. You can maximize his versatility. I'm telling J.J. Watt is on this roster. You don't even think about him. This Cardinal team, man, maybe Cliff Kingsbury's figured it out. Maybe that snow dive last year, really helped them, learn and fix some things because, man, they look really, really dangerous right now. And I think you could argue Kyler Murray's the MVP of the NFL. Seahawks at the 49ers. I couldn't believe the stat that I heard. Russell Wilson has never lost 3 games in a row. I mean, that's if you're in pick'em leagues and all the rest, and you see the Seahawks with 2-game losing streak, pick 'em. You know, he was great. He was great. He had 3 total TDs in the win over the Niners. I thought the Seahawks defense really did some great things. As the game went on, Trey Sermon got his. Deebo Samuel had a huge day for the 49ers in a losing cause, 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. But probably the story of the game, more than even the Seahawks winning and Russell Wilson not losing 3 in a row still, is that Jimmy Garoppolo is injured again. And I'm telling you right now, man, this guy is always injured. And he's a little bit like Matt Milano for the Bills. He's a little bit like Aaron Judge for the Yankees. I'm telling you right now, when they're healthy, they're in there and they're winning and they're great. They're effective. They're productive. But now, we've got Trey Lance probably getting, some meaningful snaps here because Garoppolo is out again with the calf injury. And it's just getting really old. It's getting really tiring. It's probably getting tiring for him, for the Niners, for Niner fans. You just can't count on this guy, man. You just can't. And Trey Lance went in there and actually played pretty well. 9 of 18, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a rating of over 117. We know he's active on the ground, 7 carries for 41 yards. I mean, he had 198 total yards in this game, and was effective. And so, Garoppolo, for the kind of money he makes, man, you can't afford him getting hurt all the time. And yet, here we are again. Another Jimmy Garoppolo injury. Unbelievable. Ravens beat the Broncos on the road. I was so impressed. Again, Baltimore went in there against a Denver team, hostile environment. Lamar Jackson with the kind of the cranky back, and they just slapped Denver around with every facet of the football game. They ran it with Murray. Marquise Hollywood Brown, what a layout catch for 49 yards. Lamar was spectacular on the ground and through the air. And now Baltimore is at 3-1, and Baltimore is a dangerous club. Baltimore, I think right now is the front runner to win the AFC North. The front runner. Now, will they? They'll probably duke it out with Cleveland. Pittsburgh looks hideous. Obviously, we'll get to them in a minute. But they look pretty darn good. And that stout defense is there. It's back. Lamar is pretty close to unstoppable. Hollywood Brown is playing incredibly well. Latavius Murray, plenty of gas left in the tank. The offensive line we know is really, really good. I'm telling you, man, Ravens can win the turnover battle. They can push you around. That's a good Raven team. And John Harbaugh's a hell of a coach. He really is. Remember when people wanted him out not too long ago? It's just hysterical. It really is. All right, a couple more to get to here quickly. The Packers over the Steelers, 27-17. Big Ben totally lost in this game again. The offensive line fouling him. Deontay Johnson had a 92-yard game and a touchdown for Pittsburgh, but that's really, to me, the only bright spot. Aaron Rodgers was really good. Him and Cobb connected for the second TD late in that game, or in the. Let me see. Was it late in the fourth quarter? Was the second one? Let me see. But Rodgers looked good. He spread the ball around for sure. This Packer team is back. That week one aberration, right? Week one overreaction time. It was in the third quarter when Randall Cobb caught the second touchdown from Aaron Rodgers. But they win 27-17. The Packers, really were eaten alive. The Steeler offensive line, just a total mismatch for sure. And the Green Bay Packers, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. I think this is going to be kind of a last dance situation for Aaron Rodgers, and we'll see. We'll see what they do here for the rest of the year. But it's going to be fascinating to watch. Jair Alexander, as I record this, it's his shoulder. He's getting additional options. He's undergoing more tests. So we'll see what happens here with Jair Alexander, but that's an all-pro corner. That's arguably the best corner in the NFL, and boy, do they need him if they're going to win a bunch more games and have a shot at a championship. But Green Bay just outperforming the Steelers, a team that beat Buffalo in week 1. And some people, oh, how in the hell did that? Well, it's the NFL. And a wake-up call for the Bills. One team went in with a lot of eggs in one basket, the Bills, and the Steelers went in kind of, not being talked about and kind of under the radar. They play well, they open up eyes, and now since then, the Steelers are pathetic. I mean, they're 1-3 and going nowhere fast. Buccaneers beat the Patriots 19-17, an outstanding game. Low scoring in Foxborough, in the rain, Tom Brady back, Belichick, Robert Kraft, all the moments. It was a great celebration of an iconic football player, a guy coming home, a guy who gave him 6 rings, 9 Super Bowl appearances, all the amazing moments. He won't finish his career in New England, obviously, as we know. He won't be in that one uniform the entire time like a Bill Russell or a Ted Williams, or a Bobby Orr. But this was still pretty cool. And I thought it was great that Bill Belichick, who I thought had a great game plan against Tom Brady. I thought it was a fantastic job. I thought the Pats played well. I thought Mac Jones was awesome in this game. 275 yards, 31 of 40 throwing for 2 touchdowns. I thought he was fantastic. But, as Brady got going, he always figures out a way to win. Mike Evans, Fournette and company, people getting going. They didn't have Gronk in this game, so that really slowed Tampa in the red zone. But Tom Brady always finds a way to win. I thought Belichick had a great game plan, but I was really, really thrilled that Belichick had searched Brady out, and they shared a conversation for about 20 minutes. And it's hysterical, man. The national media's, I don't know what was said, but, man, I got to know what was said. I want to know what was said so bad. Why? Why do you need to know? It was a moment for those 2 guys. I thought it was done well. I thought the broadcast was awesome, as always, with Michaels, Collinsworth, and Tafoya and company. The NFL and NBC is just, it really is awesome. Maria Taller's added more to it. Not really sure what Tony Dungy brings to the table anymore, but love Chris Sims, love Harrison, obviously Michaels. I love Tirico. It's a very, very, very well done broadcast. Great telecast. And was an awesome game. And kudos to Brady, kudos to Kraft, kudos to Belichick, everybody really on board for making it work. And, just having a love affair. And really the Patriot fan base, right? They cheered him on the way out, and then when the game started, they booed him. So classic fan bases, right? In sports, that's what you do, is you boo the opponent. They booed him eventually, but cheered him at the beginning when he came out and all the rest, and really gave him an ovation. And oh by the way, Tom Brady, now your all-time leading passer in NFL history, passing Drew Brees. Quickly, the Chargers 14 winners over the Raiders. I just cannot say enough about Justin Herbert. I know he only had 222 yards, but 3 touchdowns, managing the game, how he throws the ball in space, the strength, the accuracy, which last night Brian Greasy and Louis Riddick were talking at length about with Herbert, is that you don't talk about the accuracy first. You get into all the other stuff, how big he is, how strong the release is, and all the rest. But, man, this guy's really accurate. Another really nice game for him. Austin Eckler was all over the place, and Jared Cook had a nice game for the Chargers as well. And, it was just a game in which I think the Chargers showed more of their might in the AFC West. I think this team is just an unbelievable team right now. They are a club to be reckoned with. They've got monster players on defense, guys who can change the game, create turnovers. Derwin James, Joey Bosa. We saw Joey Bosa get in the act with a sack, in this game. We saw an interception by Derwin James. These guys are just, they're difference makers. If you're an offensive coordinator, you have to game plan against these guys. And, oh, by the way, even though it is early, I know that, it appears as though Brandon Staley is the right guy for the job there as head coach of the LA Chargers. So that's my Week 4 NFL recap. My game ball, boy, it's always hard to hand it out to just one. I was thinking about this going into the preview. Where I wanted to go. So many good choices. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give my game ball to Daniel Jones. 28 for 40, 402 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Super efficient. I've gotten on him a lot this year. Again, he does panic in panic situations, but Daniel Jones deserves the rock this week. Thought he was really good. Thought he was really efficient. He was outstanding in the fourth quarter, and the Giants get their first win of the year. So my game ball goes to Daniel Jones. This is the ML Sports Platter, brought to you by our good friends at Stanley Law Offices, Prestwick Golf, the Syracuse Fitness Store, and last but not least, Camillus Golf Club. Still a little bit of time to swing the clubs, folks. If you're in and around the state of New York, go play Camillus, CamillusHillsGolfClub.com, and get your 2022 membership today as well. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports, and as I always tell you, enjoy the games.
Before sunrise, Burn Dairy and Deli is preparing to fuel your day with hot coffee, donuts, muffins, breakfast sandwiches, and other morning staples. For lunch, grab a giant deli sandwich made the way you like it, pizza, wings, wraps, or a fresh salad, plus something to wash it down. Then pick up dinner or a sweet treat and other pantry essentials. Now you can get your Burn Dairy and Deli favorites delivered with DoorDash. All day, every day, you can count on Burn Dairy and Deli. It's all good.